Hello there, and welcome to that Oneness Guy vlog. This is actually episode number 13. It's a little bit of a throwback if you remember how I started out these vlogs. I was here on my sun porch doing some reading and some talking and some performing. And I figured I'd get back to it today because it's a miserable rainy day outside today. Today is November 1st of 2020 here. It's raining out. And I'm watching some NFL inside, but I figured I'd come out here to give a quick little update. I found online a passage that did not have an author attached to it. So I don't know who wrote this, but like when I read it, it was so perfectly fit for oneness in general and spirituality, I might add. And especially as it relates to the title of my first book. And for those of you who do not recall, but my first book is called I Am God, and So Are You, My Friend, A Common Man's Guide to Oneness. Now, I addressed that title in the first chapter of that book, but I know that there's still so many people out there who view that title as, I guess, blasphemous, if you may, which I addressed because the first chapter in that book is, let's address the blasphemous elephant in the room, for those who have read the book. And if you haven't, you can find it everywhere. Just check it out. But this passage that I found online and that I'm talking about goes directly to what that title represents. And when I say, I am God. By the way, are you guys digging the new shirts that I've made up? They're pretty cool, right? So this piece, and I'll read it to you, and I'm going to have the wording go along here with it as well, too, because it's so poignant, and it comes right to point, and it addresses why I could go ahead and title a book and call myself God, if you may. And this passage goes like this. God is consciousness, not a creator. God is the source of creation itself. It, not he or she, but it, is not independent of you. It is the totality of everything. So when I call myself God, I am not talking about my personal self. I am talking about the expression of the God that rests inside of me. The verb, the energy, if you may, not the noun. Okay, because once you think that God is a noun, like a person, place, or a thing, you immediately separate yourself from it and become a limited being. And that's what separates the believers, or what I call religious people, versus the knowers, or what I call spiritual people. Because there's always been that difference between religious people and spiritual people and the ways that we think. And what I've come to know over the last 40 years, as I've evolved spiritually and as I uncovered my own spirituality, is just that. Is that the religious way of thinking is that God is that noun, if you may, or separate from you, that person, place, or a thing that's outside of your body. And again, as soon as you think along those lines, that's what separates you. So you don't think that God is you. You don't think that God can be part of you. And along those lines, that's what religion would like you to continue believing, for many obvious reasons. Okay? But once we understand that God, as this mentions, is consciousness, is spirit, is energy, it, again, it, not he or she, but it, is not independent of you, and it is the totality of everything. Once you come to that realization, oneness becomes much easier to understand, and your spirituality in general will definitely grow. And like I've said, it's still my main objective for my message of oneness is to help remove stress from our lives. Knowing that you are one with this essence, knowing that you are one with God. Doesn't that help relieve stress already, just thinking along those lines? It's nothing blasphemous. It's a source. We emanate from one source. We are individualized expressions of that one source. Just like Neil Donald Walsh says that God, or that essence that is God, is the ocean, and we are the waves. Part of the ocean, but we're just individualized portions, if you may, from the ocean. We come in, we break on shore, and then we recede back into the ocean. It makes sense when you think about it in those terms, but we are not separate from it the way that religion would like you to believe. It's an essence. It's an energy. It's a verb. It's not a noun. It's not a person, place, or a thing. So, once we get to that knowing, there's so much more to come. And there's so much more to grow into, if you may. Speaking of that, keep in mind that my new book of oneness, The Ways of Oneness, Helping to Navigate Life. Right now I'm still in the process of shopping for my next publisher. The process is coming along good. And I appreciate everyone tuning into this and all my podcasts, which you can find on thatonenessguy.com. Thatonenessguy.com, where you'll find all my updates and all the blogs and everything that's going on in oneness. So until our next episode, as always, I send you peace, love, light, and continued oneness. Namaste.
It's mind, body, spirit.